အခြေခံကစပြီးတော့ပြောလို့ရပြပါမယ်အခြေခံစပြီးတော့စာလုံးနဲ့လက်တွေ့ကိုပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးတော့ဖြည့်ရှင်းပြတဲ့အခါညီမတဲ့ကျင့်သုံးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေပို့ရဒီလားကြောင့်ဒီကမှာပြည်တာအကုသိုလ်တွေနေရတယ်သမာဓိကြောင့်သမာဓိနဲ့ယုထနာကိလေသာတွေနေရတယ်ဝိပဿနာပညာနဲ့အခြေခံဟုတ်လားနာမရူပပရိစ္ဆေယနဲ့ဒီကိလေသာအချိန်တိုင်းပြရှင်းတယ်ဒီမှာတစ်စစ်ဆက်ပြီးတော့ဥပဒနာဉာဏ်ကြီးရစ်တာအားကောင်းပြီးတော့ပြည့်စုံသွားတဲ့အခါဘုဒ္ဓဘာသာနဲ့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်ပြရှင်းအဲလိုတစ်စင်းချင်းတစ်စင်းလုံးပြည့်တော်ရဲ့ဤဝါရဲ့လုံးလာပြီးတော့စိုက်ထုတ်ပြီးတော့ပြုလုပ်တဲ့ဤတာဝိဇ္ဇဝတ္တိကမှန်တယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့အဲဒီပြောလို့တွေ့ကြဒါလေးကိုသုံးရက်တည်းရှင်းပြရပါမယ်
Sayadaw says he has tried for 3 days to explain the Pali words Payoga Nippadita to give the clear understanding how the meditators should understand the practice following the middle path in proper way, having appropriate skill in using various productive active actions to eradicate various defilements in its respective ways. Without having purified mental state, purified verbal and physical behaviors, no one could follow the middle path. It has shown by the Buddha to eradicate or to destroy the power of defilements. There are 3 types of defilements which you have already known to them. The defilements of transgression could be eradicated with the powerful force of moral conduct. Depending on the moral conduct, making the foundation of further development of mental training, slowly and gradually you develop the concentration groups as the active action to overcome the defilement of obsession or obsessive. When you possess proper balance, having all the merged concentration groups in your practice used properly, to get strong concentration in each and every object, whatever you try to note. Through using all those mental forces in your practice, you will obtain understanding to discriminate how the physical and mental phenomena are actively working in your life. You will understand the true nature of the physical and mental phenomena through the practice of insight. So there are the insight practice to eradicate or to overcome or to destroy the latent tendency at first momentarily with the power of overcoming by the opposite, and after that overcoming by suppression and overcoming by total eradication or destruction. As much you develop your insight practice, so much you will get the insight knowledges one after another, beginning from the knowledge of discriminating power of mind and body. Later on, even you will have different types of knowledges. Through such development, when you reach to the knowledge of path and fruition, then you are there to eradicate strong, powerful defilement such as wrong views. Although the beginning of insight and having the knowledge of discrimination of mind and body, you can eradicate somehow the wrong thoughts, but total eradication could be done when you reach to the first path and fruition knowledge. So in this way, you can eradicate or you can destroy the power of defilements following the middle path as the Noble Eightfold Path. To follow the Noble Eightfold Path, so therefore it is necessary to have wholesome physical, verbal and mental behaviors. Without those wholesomenesses, there couldn't be any way to follow the middle path as they are expounded by the Buddha. So therefore Sayadaw tried for 3 days to explain how you need to possess those active actions following the 3 trainings as the moral conduct, concentration and wisdom. And these factors are the foundations, main causes of primary substantial mental forces to understand the truth and to discard the defilements.
ဒီနေ့မှရှိပါလေအဲဒီဒီနေ့မှတိုင်းပြည့်ပြည့်ဝဝမကျင့်မိသူဟာစက္ကရာဒိဋ္ဌိချိန်ပိုင်းပေါ့ nama rūpa parisira ñāna ma pēr nai nivu ēnā ne ma pēr nai nivu sō rē shī upadana ñāna lē bē ma chē tō ma pye sō ma mi chē tō Tattapati mē ne lē bē apiyā ma pēr nai nivu Chēng bāi ne ma pēr nai nivu chēng lī lē ma pēr nai nivu ē rū ma pēr nai nivu aမြင်မချင်းသေးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာတတ္တဝါကောင်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကောင်ငါကောင်ရှိတယ်လို့ဒီလိုယူဆလို့ရှိရင်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တတ္တဝါဟာအဲ့ဒါကောင်မြဲတယ်လို့ဒီလိုယူဆလို့ရှိရင်ဆုံးနစ်နေတယ်လို့ဆိုပါတယ်ဆုံးနစ်ပြီးလို့ပြောပါတယ်တတ္တဝါတည်ရင်ပြတ်ရောလို့ဒီလိုယူဆလို့ရှိရင်လည်းပဲကျော်လုံးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်အတိတာဝန်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကျော်လုံးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်လို့ဆိုရပါတယ်ဒီပဲဆုံးရောက်သွားပြီပေါ့ဆုံးနေကြံနေမယ်ပြီးတော့အကြံလွန်မယ်ဒါပေါ့ဒီအဆုံးဖြစ်တာ
Sayadaw says, although there is true path, proper path, accurate way to realize the truths in this world, if people don't follow the true way and true path to understand themselves, to see clearly the realities, then there won't be any possibility to have real understanding about the truth. If they don't understand the real nature of the world, the real nature of their own life, then they will fall in two ways. Either they will become sluggish, or they will pass beyond the limitation. So therefore, Sayadaw would like to explain how to follow the right path, true way, not to fall in those two extremes. They couldn't eradicate their wrong thought, especially the personality view. Each and every time, whenever they see something, they get something, there will be the notion that it is the being, it is the person, it is the self, it is the soul. So in this way, that personality belief will be all the time there, which is really the wrong belief or wrong view. To eradicate that wrong view, either momentarily or totally, it is necessary to overcome those two types of extreme ways. You shouldn't fall into the sluggishness, or you shouldn't fall into the passing beyond the limit.
ဒါကြောင့်ဘုရားမြတ်စွာကိုယ်တိုင်လည်းဒီဥဒကပါဠိတော်မှာအဲ့ဒီအယူဆရှိသူနှမျိုးကိုလူတည်ပြီးတော့မိစ္ဆမပရိပဒါအကျဉ်းလန်းစဉ်နဲ့ဉာဏ်မြင်ရှိသူသုံးမျိုးခွဲပြီးတော့ဟောကြားထားတာရှိပါတယ်
Sayadaw says, therefore, in Itivuttaka Pali, the Buddha had expounded three things: how one falls into the sluggishness, and how one fall into the passing beyond the limitation, and how one possesses endowed with the vision through which he can easily understand the realities.
ဝတ္တဘုံကတော့ ဝိဘိက္ခဝေဒိဋ္ဌိကတိဟိပရိယုဋ္ဌိတာဒေဝမနုဿာဩလီယန္တိဧကေအတိဒါဝန္တိဧကေจิตတုမန္တောကြပသံတိဒါကအစပြုပြီးတော့ဟောလိုက်ပါတယ်ဘောကတော့ပိက္ခုတို့သစ္စာဒိဋ္ဌိဥจิตဒိဋ္ဌိခေါ်တဲ့ဒီဒိဋ္ဌိနှမျိုးတို့အနိစ္စခံနေရတဲ့လူနတ်တွေဆိုတာရှိပါတယ်နတ်တွေလူသားတွေဆိုတာရှိပါတယ်နတ်အများနတ်ဗြဟ္မာအများလူသားအများပေါ့ဒီဒိဋ္ဌိနှမျိုးနဲ့လွှမ်းမှုနှိစ္စခံနေရတယ်တချို့ကဘဝထဲမှာနစ်မုန်းပြီးတော့ဘဝလေးကမဖက်နိုင်ကြဘူးဟောဒီယံဒီတချို့ကတော့အတိတာဝတိအေးသေးတယ်ဘဝကြီးရုံးဆက်ဆိုပြီးတော့တေရာကောင်းတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့ပေါ့ခုခုကိုတတ်တည်မှုက
into the sluggishness, and how one fall into the passing beyond the limitation, and how one possesses endowed with the vision through which he can easily understand the realities.
ဝတ္တဘုံကတော့ဝိဘိက္ခဝေဒိဋ္ဌိကတိဟိပရိယုဋ္ဌိတာဒေဝမနုဿာဩလီယန္တိဧကေအတိဒါဝန္တိဧကေจิตတုမန္တောကြပသံတိဒါကအစပြုပြီးတော့ဟောလိုက်ပါတယ်ဘောကတော့ပိက္ခုတို့သစ္စာဒိဋ္ဌိဥจิตဒိဋ္ဌိခေါ်တဲ့ဒီဒိဋ္ဌိနှမျိုးတို့အနိစ္စခံနေရတဲ့လူနတ်တွေဆိုတာရှိပါတယ်နတ်တွေလူသားတွေဆိုတာရှိပါတယ်နတ်အများနတ်ဗြဟ္မာအများလူသားအများပေါ့ဒီဒိဋ္ဌိနှမျိုးနဲ့လွှမ်းမှုနှိစ္စခံနေရတယ်တချို့ကဘဝထဲမှာနစ်မုန်းပြီးတော့ဘဝလေးကမဖက်နိုင်ကြဘူးဟောဒီယံဒီတချို့ကတော့အတိတာဝတိအေးသေးတယ်ဘဝကြီးရုံးဆက်ဆိုပြီးတော့တေရာကောင်းတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့ပေါ့ခုခုကိုတတ်တည်မှုကအစအဲ့ဒါလေးသိကြတယ်จิตကုမန္တောကြပသံတိဉာဏ်အမြင်ဉာဏ်မျက်စိရှိသူတို့ကအမှန်မြင်ရတယ်ဒီလိုဆိုပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါကအစပြိုးလိုက်တာ
The Buddha expounded in that Pali that there are two views one is the view of personality belief, and the another is the nihilistic view. Those who have the personality views, they are sinking down to the bottom in the existence. They never want to get out from that condition. They are the people, whether it might be human or whether it might be deities, they fall into the personality belief. Those people who fall into the annihilation view, they are the beings who are passing beyond the limitation. These two are the strongest the wrong thoughts or wrong views, because of which people are overwhelmed or overpowered by all sorts of defilements. There is a person who, endowed with the vision of knowledge, only he can pass away from such two extremes, and he can see the reality in this world. Sayadaw says, to make it clear, he would like to repeat some of the aspects which he has explained in previous days. Until those people or those beings, human or deities, they cannot clearly understand the true nature of life, true nature of existence, with theoretical understanding as well as practical understanding. they will fall one of these two views. Either they fall into the personality view, or they may fall into the annihilation view. When they fall into the personality view, they believe that after this existence, when the beings pass away, there are the hidden person or being or soul or self which never dies, transmits from this life to next life. So the everlasting entity continues one after another lives, one after another existence. Because the everlasting entity is never destroyed. It remains same all the time. It remains permanent all the time. There won't be any dissolution in such person, being, or self or soul. And if they fall in that personality belief, they were overpowered by that personality belief, and they were suffered because of that belief. They cannot get rid of that belief. Until then, they are really in trouble. So that is why Sayadaw says, when one of those views will be there, there will be the overpowering state in the being's life. And if not, if the beings think that after that there isn't anything remaining in this existence, when this present existence dissolves, passes away, everything has gone totally. There couldn't be any substantial existence again. No need to have any birth or rebirth or anything. So one life is sufficient, and forever it will disappear when one passes away from this life. That is the annihilistic view. If they overridden by that view, they also getting suffering all the time. So therefore they are overwhelmed by those two views. If they don't really understand that these two views are the wrong views, there aren't such types of any substances in this world. If people have that understanding through their practical practice, then they will be free from such dangers.
ဘုရားမြတ်စွာကိုယ်တိုင်ကလည်းခုနသစ္စာဒိဋ္ဌိတည်မြဲအယူဝါဒရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များရဲ့အခြေအနေနဲ့သူတို့ရဲ့သဘောထားလေးတွေပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒါလေးတွေရှိပြီးတော့ပေါ်ပြပြီးတော့ဘဝထဲမှာစုံနစ်မြုပ်နေလို့ပေါ့လေအမေးဖြေဟောပါလေဟောကတော့ကထံကြဘိက္ခုဟောလီယံဒီဧကေဘိက္ခု ဟုတ်လားဒီမြဲဝါဒရှိတဲ့အချို့သောပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များဟာဘယ်ပုံပဲနည်းဘဝရဲမှာပေါ့လေစုံနေပြီးတော့နေကြပါလို့ဒီလိုမျိုးကိုထုတ်ပါ
To show how the people who are falling into the view of falling into the personality view, they sink down to the bottom in this world. The Buddha asked the questions how those people or those beings are sinking below to bottom down to the bottom in this world.
ဘုရားမြတ်စွာဖြေပေးပါတယ်ဘဝရမဘိက္ခုေဒီဝမနုဿဘဝရတဘဝသမုဒိတာဘိက္ခုတို့ရှိသောဒီဝမနုဿတို့ဟာနတ်တိဇမာရီလူသားတို့ဟာဘဝလေးပျော်မှုရရှိတယ်ဒီအတ္တလေးကောင်းစားရေးအတွက်ပေါ့ဘဝလေးပျော်မှုရရှိတယ်ဘဝလေးဘဝရတဘဝထဲမှာလည်းပျော်လို့ဘဝသမုဒိတာအဲ့ဒီဘဝထဲမှာလည်းဝမ်းမြောက်ကြည်တာစွာနဲ့ပေါ့ကျင့်နေကြတယ်ကျင့်နေကြတယ်
So the Buddha gave the answer himself after asking question himself. The worldly beings, human, devas, as even the Brahmas, are there to enjoy the existence, to have delight in the existence. They feel pleasure in the existence. So for them, the existence is enjoyable thing, delightful thing, and pleasurable thing, because they want to satisfy their soul, self, person, or being.
သူတို့ဖြစ်တော့ခုခေတ်လောကကြီးမှာဆိုရင်အပ္ပပညာကြီးအထူးထွန်းကားပြီးအဲ့ဒီပညာကြီးနဲ့လူသုံးပစ္စည်းတွေပေါ့လေအမျိုးမျိုးတည်ဆန်းပြီးတည်ထွင်ပြီးတော့အဲ့ဒါလေးအလဲအလဲနဲ့သုံးပြီးလူနေမှုအစဉ်တန်မြင့်မာမာနဲ့နေနိုင်တဲ့တိုက်ကြည့်ရလူလေးပေါ့လေလုံးတစ်ချက်နှိမ့်လိုက်လို့ရှိရင်လူရရနိုင်တဲ့တိုက်ကြည့်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေဆိုရင်အဲ့ဒါကြီးနဲ့ရှင်းနိုင်ကြတာလေဆိုတော့များများပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ငွေကကိုယ်ဝယ်ရအနေနဲ့အဲ့ဒီကအကြံဒီပေါက်ပြီးအကြံဒီယူပြီးတော့ drug ခေါ်တဲ့ဘိန်းပေါ်တွေလူကြီးစေဝါကိုယ်ဝယ်ရတာရတာပြီးတော့ကာမဂုဏ်အပြောအဲ့ဒါတကယ်ကိုယ်ဝယ်ရတယ်ဒီစားအဲ့ဒီသုံးမျိုးပဲကိုယ်ဝယ်ရအစစ်ဖြစ်တယ်လို့အဲ့ဒီလောက်ရှိတော့မှဒီဆက်ရပါတယ်
Sayadaw says, we have experiential example in this world how such people enjoy their life, especially in those countries where there are high technologies developing, scientific developments are there, so they want to enjoy their existence in various ways. They invented various things, one after another, to keep the enjoyment continuous. Alternately there are inventions If one thing becomes boring, another thing is there. If another thing is boring, then another thing is there. So in that way, alternating enjoyment is there, which are proceeding without stop. So they are trying to enjoy the sensuous pleasures with changing process. And they have their refuge as the money. Money is their refuge.
Money is
And so they have refuge as drug. And they have refuge, what? One thing is there, another one. Money, drug, and sensuous pleasures. So these are the three refuges they are trying to take to satisfy their life, to satisfy their existence, to make it permanent.
Yeah, let's have it up. Together, the nigga, the Ipa, the Atana, the Kuma, Yogi, the Nigo Tokuba. And I think I've been to do the to do be city level portrait. You didn't say that near Mamma and the look at it that she, Luya and the Boa. Yes, which is not a piece of me, not be local, it is one of it. It may be a popular, when I can't only put it. So, Zami be later. Checking your video, took it. Do up there. The eager nearly a little. The look of who needed one, you are the low window.
Sayadaw is recollecting his experience 2 years back, while he was traveling from one place to another place. There was Yogi, and to know the real thinking of that Yogi, Sayadaw tries to ask him questions. In these Western countries, you have everything when you just push the button. You can obtain what you like. And you have all sorts of things to enjoy the life. You don't have to think, this thing is necessary for me. The necessary thing comes immediately in your hand when you make a wish. So therefore, wish-fulfilling countries are the Western countries. So it is, the Western countries are like heavens. Aren't you dwelling in the heavenly world? Then the yogi immediately replied to the Sayadaw without hesitation, "Yes, Venerable Sir. But, sir," he added, "although we are dwelling in a very calm and cool air-conditioned room, but still our heart is burning." That was his comment.
ပြည်သက်ဘယ်လိုသဘောရတယ်ထောက်ခံလား
Do you agree with his comment?
လူဘဝလူချမ်းသာကောင်းဆုံးချမ်းသာပေါ့ဟုတ်လားအဲ့ဒါကြီးကောင်းတယ်ကောင်းတယ်ချမ်းသာတယ်ချမ်းသာတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ဘေးတင်အောင်ကောင်းတယ်ဆိုတာအဲ့ဒါထောက်ခံလိုက်တာ
Sayadaw says, somehow in the worldly pleasures there are some kind of enjoyment. But that enjoyment is not danger-free one, suffering-free one. It is full of trouble and full of suffering and full of dangers. That's how the yogi responded himself to prove what type of pleasure he or his countrymen are enjoying. They are carrying their burning heart with pleasurable things.
ဒီနေ့ပြန်လည်းပဲလူမှုချမ်းသာတဲ့မှာတကယ်အေးချမ်းမှုမရဘူးဆိုတာပေါ်ပြရရောက်ပါတယ်။ငွေရယ်လူရဲ့ရှေးဝါရယ်ကံကုန်ချမ်းသာရယ်အဲ့ဒီမှာတကယ်ပြေဝတဲ့ချမ်းသာစီမရှိဘူးဆိုတာသူတရားတူလေးနဲ့ပေါ်ပြလိုက်တာပဲ
And Sayadaw says, although in well-developed countries they have all sorts of comfortableness, pleasurable things. They have money, they have enjoyable drugs, and they have enjoyable all sorts of sensuous pleasures. But those pleasurable things couldn't give them permanent happiness, everlasting peace, and everlasting enjoyment. So that's how the yogi was giving the reply in very simple and short ways. They didn't have any satisfaction, although they were enjoying those pleasures and they were taking refuge on those three things specially.
ဒီပြည်သက်ကတော့ထောက်ခံတယ်မထောက်ခံတယ်ဆိုတာတော့ဒီပြည်သက်ရဲ့စိတ်ထားဘုန်းကြီးကမပြီးတော့မပြောနိုင်ပါဘူးအဲ့ဒီစကားကသိပြီးတော့တဏှာကိုဘုန်းကြီးတို့ကားနဲ့ကြောင်းရှိသွားတဲ့အခါခရီးကြမှာဒီကားနဲ့လိုက်ပို့တဲ့စကားဇနီးမောင်ဆန်းပေါ့ဒီတော့ရင်ကကျူးရှိတဲ့စကားတွေပြောတော့ပါတယ်တရားတွေလည်းဆွေးနွေးတော့ပါတယ်အဲ့လိုဆွေးနွေးနေရင်ကစကားမှာကြုံတဲ့အကြောင်းအရာတွေဘုန်းကြီးကပြောပြတော့သူကပဲထောက်ခံချက်ပေးတယ်ဆိုတော့သူတယောက်တည်းမဟုတ်ဘူးခင်ဗျာတဲ့ထောက်ခံချက်ပေးပါတယ်
Sayadaw says he don't know, he cannot read the individual mind of the yogis here, whether they are agree with that statement or not. But once when he was traveling with a couple who were driving to Shadows, he wanted to know his reflection about the statement of a yogi. So Shadow was discussing with various aspects with those two couples who were driving to Shadows. They were talking about the Dhamma aspects also. Later on Shadow asked the same question to those two couples. Between them, the male devotee replied immediately, "Not only myself, sir, all the Western people are having same type of feeling, and they have the same type of experiences."
သူကဆင်းလိုက်ပါသေးတယ်ဆက်လိုက်ပါသေးတယ်ကာမဂုဏ်လေးအဝခံစားဖို့ရအတွက်လူတဲ့ပစ္စည်းတွေပေါ်ရဖို့ရအတွက်ငွေတွေရှာပြီးတော့ဒီမျိုးပြီးတစ်မျိုးပေါ့လေဒီပစ္စည်းတွေသုံးပြီးတော့နေတာအစာပြေတယ်မရှိဘူးတဲ့ညရမယ်လိုးနေတာပဲဘာနဲ့တူတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ခုပိပါစပေတဒီလိုမှဆင်းလိုက်ပါ
Even he added another word. "Yes, sir, we have all sorts of things. If we possess money, we can buy everything to enjoy our life. And we try to do so, changing various aspects one after another. But we never have any satisfaction, never have any contentment. That is why we are similar to the hungry ghosts."
အဲ့ဒါလိုသူကမှတ်ချက်ချပါတယ်ဒီတော့ဒီဟာငွေရအောင်ရှာပြီးတော့ငွေကလူတွေအတွက်ပေါ်တယ်ချမ်းသာမှုအပြည့်အဝပေးနိုင်တယ်ဆိုတဲ့ယဉ်ကျေးမှုတွေဆိုရင်ငါလေးတကောင်ကောင်းစားရေးအတွက်လည်းလုပ်ရတာငါလေးတကောင်နေမဟုတ်ဘဲနဲ့သက်ဆိုင်ရာမိသားစုကောင်းစားရေးအတွက်လုပ်ရတာ
Thoughts of enjoyment and pleasure and delight in worldly pleasures. And it is also to satisfy their existence, their life, especially to their self. And there are some benefit to look after their children and to protect their parents and to their societies. But however, those worldly pleasures cannot give any substantial peace and happiness in this world, so that is why they have to carry their burning heart without having any quenching way of their thirst.
အဲ့ဒါငါကောင်းလေးရှိတယ်လူကြီးစားတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များရဲ့ပြုမှုချက်တွေမြတ်စွာဘုရားအတူချုပ်ပြောပြီးနေကြပြီးတော့တပန်သူရဲ့သဘောထားလေးတွေကိုလည်းပဲဆက်နေပြီးတော့နေကြပါတယ်နေကြပုံကတော့တေသံဘဝနိရောဓာယဓမ္မေတေစီယမာနိจิตตานาเปขันตตินาปชิตตินาสันติตตินาริมุจจติလို့ဆိုပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီးခုနဘဝကပြုံးမှုရှိတဲ့ဘဝတွေမှာပြုံးမှုနေတဲ့ဘဝတွေထဲမှာအမှန်တန်ရှင်ကြည်ဝမ်းမြောက်ကျင့်နေကြတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီး ကိုယ့်အကူအတင်ကြည့်နေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်အဲ့ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တို့အားဘဝဆင်းရဲတွေနိလမှန်စွာချုပ်ငြိမ်းပြီးတော့ဤဝရချမ်းသာရဖို့ရပါဘူးတရားနိလကိုဖော်ပြလို့ရှိရင်တို့ကစိတ်ဝင်စားတယ်မကြည်လင်ဘူးလေမကြည်ညိုဘူးလေပြီးတော့လည်းတည်တည်တတ်တာမရှိဘူးလေနည်းနည်းလေးတော့မှတရားနာဖို့ရစိတ်ညှို့ကိုင်းတာစိတ်တရားနာဖို့စိတ်ညှို့ကိုင်းလို့ရတယ်နည်းနည်းလေးမှအဲ့ဒီပြောရတဲ့ချမ်းသာရရှိဖို့ရအတွက်စိတ်မညှို့ကိုင်းနိုင်ကြဘူးတဲ့အဲ့ဒီလိုသူရဲ့စိတ်နဲ့စိတ်ထားလေးတွေနဲ့ဆောက်ရပုံစံပုံပြထားတယ်
So in this way, those people who may have the personality view overridden to them, so they want to enjoy the existence, they don't want to give up the existence. And to add, to show their mentality, to show their motivation, again the Buddha expounded with additional words. Those beings who are enjoying in the existence or on the existence, for if they would be taught by proper dhammas, they don't want to listen to them. They don't have any interest on such useful dhammas. They don't have any faith or confidence in such teaching. They never try to pay any attention to such realities. So therefore, they are there to neglect the true path, true teaching, and the true Dhamma. They never accept them as the Dhamma is true.
Yadama Alago Mianovi, Alago Mountain Pokuri, Pinago Mountain Pokuri, Tanago Mountain Pokuri, Sadi Body. Every jump you will not ever. He not is at a Pokuri, so Guru, the Achok to Hoy, from Jacob, nothing. Everybody yet out of his survey, compassion, father, Yinga. Through the ship. You to Nano, Quavia, you and the Yam, Chile, see a river. Go to them to what I do, kid out there, so I was. Every the other and the other is say that jazz, the word you hear. They down here, don't only, say that Java, the churches on it, near tight. The six jazz, the other is not holy. Macamu, so we are horrible, whatever Makila. Yaya, the other, I never drew my name, you body, I drew by the job, but I could never kill never.
Sadhu says, if even there will be beings or people who have pride and prejudices in their beautiful complexions, if they have pride on their wealth, prosperity, and high standard living, happy existences, they don't like such dry teaching. That only there is physical and mental phenomena. All those physical and mental phenomena are all the time changing one after another, moment after moment. They are impermanent, they are unsatisfactory. There isn't such everlasting entity in this world. They don't want to listen to that discourse. They don't like such type of statements. They think these types of teachings are pessimistic teachings. They are discouraging of life. How enjoyable life is this? And they are putting down them. So therefore these types of teachings are not useful for us. So in that way, they never want to listen that type of teachings, and they never want to pay any attention towards such teachings. Sayadaw says, the teaching which seems dry, uninteresting, or how to say, not interesting, but the teaching is there to uphold their life. The teaching is like scaffolding, or what you call? Scaffolding to go up and up and up, to give real understanding about the true nature, to show them the reality, what they are, and how to uplift one's life. They don't understand that fact. So therefore they are trying to overlook the teaching. So in this way they don't increase their interest in such teaching and such practice. Although the teaching is very beneficial for their life, they still want to enjoy the enjoyment dwelling in the air-conditioned cool room and having the burning heart. So to show that, so therefore the Buddha expounded, in this way the worldly beings are becoming sluggish themselves, sinking down to the bottom of in that existence. They don't want to come up from that existence. That is how the people who have overpowered by the personality believe they sink down to the bottom.
Kiniga Najara le Chaudu Viji. Idia was Savido, Chomujavi. Tia le Chaudu Viji keeping Melo. Thoroughly Churija Adolo. The Marine young lady body, Kila Rishi. Through the pen, we have young Yamayo Yola with Rishi. Mapian now, Tamegomo, a pure new channel Yala. Fiji go with Taya Supina, Eddie Kajama County, let me give out the Atu de Bukuria, Eddie Payola is Choki, Chopataki, Ama Yadamo, a good day found a Yadava, the new Shin in her G, the one I got to the chase.
So the practice which the yogis are practicing, according to teaching to the Buddha, in the beginning it seems really dry, no any taste. No any salt in your curry. So you have the feeling, what type of teaching is this? What type of practice is this? So boring. So sometimes you may have some desire, strong desire to run away from the practice. But if you have patience, if you try to listen to the teaching carefully and try to use in your everyday practice, bit by bit, inch by inch, then when you get some sort of concentration power, you will try to have little bit taste of it. Then there arises some interest. Before we are thinking this practice and this teaching is tasteless, it is actually dry, but now it is not dry one. Some sap is there. So you try to taste something, and when interest increase in your practice, and you will have real concentration powers, well observing objects, and some sort of rapture in the practice, bliss in the practice, then only you will get satisfaction. Oh, this practice is, although it seems in the beginning dry and tasteless, now it has full taste, very tasteful. And the taste is not comparable with the taste of sensuous pleasures, this taste is different from that taste. So you can have the different taste in your practice. And when you know how to use the taste and get the pleasure and delight in it, then you become active, more active in your practice, more active in listening the discourse, listening the teaching, because now you see the actual taste of the practice. Sayadaw says, here are some of the yogis who might have that taste and who might have trying to increase their taste to get more and more taste. Those yogis who are really doing the practice and having that taste, did you agree that? Sayadaw says whether you agree with it or not, but there is the saying of the Buddha himself, amanusirati, the enjoyment and only taste where you don't need to add any ingredients to make it tasty. So one taste is enough to have sufficient or powerful taste without mixing anything in it. So the taste which you gain through the practice, that taste couldn't be compared with any kind of worldly taste, worldly pleasures. The taste of the Dhamma, pure truth, is beyond the reach of the human pleasure and even the pleasure of the divine. Time is over. Sayadaw says he will try to explain furthermore in coming days.